So you're going to be hard pressed in this pile of wood to find something that is straight grained and doesn't have something difficult going on with it. All right, everybody, the age-old question, the axe or the maul? I assume when people ask this question, they're talking about splitting wood. So I have got the perfect tree here to answer that. For me personally, it's going to be the axe. I'll explain that in a second. I know some people are probably shaking their head right now. Just give me a second. The maul has its uses, okay? It's a tool for the job for a lot of things. Let's get this axe out of the way here, for example. And for safety reasons, try to not stick your axe in things. It's a great way to get hurt. Somebody could fall on that. You could brush against it with your leg. If you have a good axe, it's sharp. A good maul, we don't keep razor sharp. The maul's for splitting and pushing things apart. So you want that apex to not be super sharp because it's made to push things apart. It's not made to cut. All right, with that said, this looks reasonably straight. If you look at the outside, we do have a couple little knots coming off the outside. But if you were to look down in here, it's got all these knots in it, here, here, here. So this, like a lot of yard trees or trees that get a lot of sunlight, they grow any way they want to. There's limbs everywhere. So a fence line, it will have trees like this. Yards will have trees like this. Open land in general. If it can get sunlight, it's going to grow however it wants. So for a tree like that, you can bet money on it that I'm going to have a maul with me, because I could be at this for quite a long time with an axe and I could be quite tired at the end of the day. So a maul is a tool for the job here because it will push through these. I like to go to the outsides of the log when I split a big log. This is not a big log, so we're just going to split right down the middle. You can see how stringy this is. All right. You can see how the knots and how that's all stringy. An axe is not the tool for that. A maul's the tool for that. It's not to say an axe can't work a log like this, but a maul can do it much faster. Still got some little knots in this. There we go. You can see all the little knots in this. I got some good examples down here. When it splits like this, you don't want to use an axe. You want to use a maul. Got grain going every which way. Typical yard tree or a tree that got too much sun. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said that I preferred the axe. Let me explain that so it makes sense. All right, so as you can see beside me, and any of you woodcutters or firewood cutters know, these are spring loaded. I've quit cutting this tree so I can do this demonstration here. But if I were to come out in the woods, say I left my saw, sorry about the wind, saw's at the truck, or maybe I cut the tree one day, I came back the next day to split it up and didn't even bring the saw. What I can do with an axe, much easier than I can do with a maul, because once again, a maul, you can see just looking down it, where it comes to a point here or an apex, it's not made for cutting. You don't chop trees down with a maul. With an axe, I can come through, find where the most pressure is on this bend, and safely, quickly remove that so it's not wanting to spring back. We got another one right here, got another one behind me. These things will trip you up like crazy. All right, so they're not spring loaded. Another little one over here. Trying not to put my axe blade in the dirt. Actually, I did on that one. But I can still get through some of these logs with this axe. Another thing, I can swing this all day long. I can swing this for a certain amount of time before I need a break. So the weight is a big issue if you're doing this all day. But when I split with a maul, that first log I purposely split down the middle. Typically when we split wood, we don't split down the middle. Break this off. This out of the way here. With a saw, you could come through, get these little kickers off too, but they're not really in the way now. When I split toward the outside of the log, and I work my way in, and I kind of flick the axe a little bit while I do it. Like that. You can see it peels right off. I might move this around. If I wasn't on camera, I would move around the log, see? Instead of moving the log every time. But you see with that little flick, it breaks these off, it pushes these away. So you can split just as fast with an axe with the right technique. Split this one right down the middle here. There we go. Got that one over. Now let me explain another thing here with an axe. I got a log down right here. Get this out of the way. Log on the ground. I can use my axe, drag that to me and stand that puppy up, right? Then I'm right back to splitting. That's pretty cool. Anyways, a lot more uses for an axe than the maul. That's why overall the axe is my choice. Hopefully that answers some of your questions. The axe and the maul debate. All right, so with the maul, I'm limited to splitting or pounding wedges for the most part. So two things there that the maul is very, very good at and very capable of. With the axe, I can split. If I didn't have a double-bladed axe with me today, I could still pound wedges. I can buck logs, which means delimb all the logs. I can use this all day without wearing my body out like this would do. I can fell trees, so I could fell smaller trees if I needed to make a path. Like I said, I can safely get rid of those spring-loaded poles, all kinds of stuff. The list goes on and on. That's why overall, the axe is going to be my choice. If I only can bring one, it's going to be the axe. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share this with your friends.
Mm-hmm.